What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael.
Hey, we're here to talk about Luke Kuechly. Now, guys, Panther fans, I know you're upset. I know you're down. Luke Kuechly announced his retirement. It's going to be a hard season, guys. 2020, whoo. I mean, we got a new coach. We don't know who our quarterback is. We just lost Luke Kuechly. Really? That's what we're doing in 2020?
I'm just saying, since we going off the rails, I'm going to go off the rails too. I'm just going to say stuff too.
Woo! Keep pounding. All right. Guys, we're finally doing it. If you clicked on this video, we're going to be talking about The Witcher.
Yeah. Toss a coin to him. Valley of Plenty.
Now,
that song is great.
Now, for all you Cavillites, we knew Henry Cavill was going to be great. We were concerned about everybody else. Was our concern justified? I hand the microphone over to Mike.
I enjoyed the show.
Okay.
So, I guess to kind of give you guys behind the scenes, we would have liked to have done probably an episode by episode, right? I think, right? Just because you didn't want to do an episode by episode?
Because remember, some people, hold on, let me rephrase. We talked about that and we didn't know how to do it, like the Expanse, because some people may just binge all of it, and then it had been hard for us to do it without like spoilers, so we didn't know how to do it. We're still working out how to do series dumps.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're going to talk about the whole show in general. Right now we're doing non-spoilers, so just non-spoilers. I feel like the show can be a little disjointed at times.
Okay.
And I don't know. There is a resolution to that later in the show, but I don't know if the payoff was worth it. Overall, I enjoyed the show. I just don't think
you have some problems with
it. Yeah, having the show being disjointed, I don't think it was necessary.
Well, let's get into that. So let's start with, did you enjoy the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we break it down 5 out of 5, whatever, Stregobors.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 Jaskers.
Okay.
Yeah, 3.5 Jaskers out of 5. Yeah.
I'm going to give it see, this is the problem that I have with these kind of rating systems that we came up with ourselves. Because it's hard to grade, because you want to grade, you're grading your entire show. Like, I give Henry Cavill a 5 out of 5. I give Henry Cavill a 6 out of 5, actually.
Calm down.
He carried the show. The show, hold on.
I don't know that he did.
Really?
He wasn't my favorite. Yennefer.
I'll give you
my favorite was Yennefer.
Because it seemed that they gave her more to do. Yeah. And they developed her as a character. Now, I will give you that. Now, I will say Henry Cavill, in my opinion, 6 out of 5. The show itself, a solid 3.
Okay.
It goes back and forth between a 3 out of 3.5, maybe a 3.75. But it fluctuates depending on how I feel. But it no lower than a 3, because I felt like they tried to do too much.
Okay. So
I liked it over. To me, Henry Cavill carried the show.
What did you think of special effects and CGI?
Woo! Let's not go there.
Okay, let's talk. I think the show was great. I would love it to have a bigger budget, in terms of maybe the budget was spent and them shooting on locations and stuff.
Design.
And they couldn't get Weta. They got somebody else.
Why didn't you? I guess my question is, what was your budget for special effects? Because there were times that things looked really good, and there were times where I was like, "Oh, this is what you're doing?" And this is where a lot of people had their issues with Game of Thrones, and I'm telling you, Game of Thrones did it right. It wasn't until the show got more and more progressively into the books, and until they got further into the show, that they brought in more of the fantasy elements, because they didn't have the budget for that. They focused more on the politics and the actual interworkings between the different groups and the houses. Witcher started off with magic because it is a magic show, and maybe you didn't need all of that in the beginning, because you should have done creature effects, puppetry, and it really makes me wonder why this didn't look as good as the Dark Crystal or Altered Carbon. Or, you see what I'm saying? Like, because these are all shows green lit by Netflix.
I wonder what their budgets were compared to this.
And that's what I want to know. In other words, what production company did what? Because, man, there were some characters that I was like, that's... Ooh.
It's PS2.
Ooh.
No, you know what? I'll say PS3. And PS3 ain't bad, but this is first generation PS3.
Just some of the acting, to me, the acting was really well done, carried the show. A lot of people might have had issues with some of the characters who were casted and like, oh, shut up. The actors and actresses that they cast did a great job, in my opinion. Captured the essence of the characters. But man, that special effects, whew.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that might be the overall low point to me. And like, because in terms of creatures, they didn't look great. But then there were some people who, when they did like practical makeup and stuff, it looked decent.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I have with it. When you look at a show that had practical creature effects, and I'm not going to compare it to The Mandalorian or anything Disney Plus does, because we know they're literally just backing up trucks and stealing old lady social security numbers to fund that show. I mean, that literally...
They ain't got to steal nobody's number, man. I mean, they just got the money.
They probably did it just because they could.
So evil.
I'm just saying.
Let the hate out, man. Let the hate out.
I'm just saying, man.
2020, let the hate out.
2020, keep some hate.
Keep some hate. These old ladies, go ahead.
I just, when you look at certain shows, because I go back to Altered Carbon, and I know it shouldn't, I'm not trying to bring up Sense8, because I know that's a sore subject for you, but the special effects for Sense8 compared to this, and look how long ago that show was. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is 2019, borderline 2020, and Sense8 came out when?
True, but to flip that on the other side, that show also got canceled because it cost so much to make.
And that's what,
so maybe they had to do a compromise.
But the thing is, I'm like, you could have met somewhere in the middle, man.
I don't know. Sensei looked great, but they canceled it early.
So that is my biggest problem with the show. My second biggest problem is the time jumping, the uneven.
Are we doing that in spoilers? Non-spoilers?
I didn't think
Lauren?
that was really a spoiler. Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
I don't know, because that's why I didn't say that at the beginning when I was saying it was disjointed.
I thought we were just going over the okay, but guys, sorry. If you're watching this, sorry.
Let's do spoilers now?
Nah, let's keep going.
I mean, you already put it out there, Lauren. I don't know.
Fair enough. All right, spoilers.
Spoilers. We here. Time jumps.
All right.
And the reason why I say it's a spoiler is because they don't set it up, so I feel like they kind of want you to kind of be like, what's going on? What's happening?
See, I figured it out that it was a time jump early on, and I was like, oh, this is lame.
I figured it out in the first episode, or?
Not in the first episode, but I kind of figured out as we were going through, because I was like, the war hadn't reached him yet. And that's why I was like, there's a war going on, and you don't seem like you're in it. And I'm like, huh? It just seemed off.
Okay.
And I knew it was definitely a time jump when, I mean, of course, everybody figured out when he went.
Well, when the queen is like, you did. You died in the first one.
But the thing is, I knew it was a time jump early on because it just didn't seem as if the two things were going on simultaneously. And that's where I was like, I felt it, but it wasn't confirmed until I was like, oh, that's why.
And one thing I'll say about any high fantasy show, don't be afraid to turn on subtitles for shows, because words, you're like, this is
names,
who?
yep.
Stregobor, and what, and then the who, and
Renfrey.
Yeah, it's like, okay, the names you're already not familiar with the names of people. You're probably not gonna be familiar with the names of locations, and you're dealing with a different mythology altogether and different lore. So don't be afraid to turn on subtitles. It's okay to read. Yeah, it helps me out a lot. And
2020. It's okay to read.
It's okay to read. Shoot. But yeah, I had to do that for this show, just so I keep up with people. And that's always kind of a hurdle for any type of high fantasy shows, getting with that lexicon. And I know some people, to a lesser extent, because it wasn't as drastic, but I kind of remember that being on when Black Panther came out. Some people kind of had that with the names, because those names you don't necessarily hear all the time. So you don't hear you don't hear an Okoye.
Because we live in a Western society where we don't get a lot of those names.
Right.
It's very interesting you brought that up. I know you and Lauren had talked about that, because Lauren had said she had an issue sometimes watching, and when she turned on the subtitles, she was like, oh, and she made, and because you told her, you were like, put your phone down. Because I remember.
Because this is definitely a show. Because if you're not paying attention,
Yep, you won't realize.
You won't realize there's time jumps. You're like,
Yep.
wait, what's happening?
Yep.
What's going on?
And see, that's why I said my second biggest problem. And it could honestly, I could have been okay with the creature effects if the time jumps hadn't happened. And that's why I said they're almost like 1A and 1B, or 1 and 1A, because the time jumps really to me were disjointed, and they were great. I just felt like the timeline itself could have been more streamlined. To me, I didn't feel like, and I don't know if they realized how disjointed it was for someone who did not know where this was going to end up.
Yeah. I think they've already come out and said season 2 is going to be linear.
Well, it has to be.
I was like, great. Well, they can do whatever they want, man. Who knows? They might figure out a way to go back and be like, man, we're doing this now. I don't know.
I highly doubt that. But to me,
the Arrowverse does time jumps in terms of there's a present day and then 5 years ago and the present day and then 4 years ago and whatever. But whatever.
Yeah, but that's because they literally change time in that show, don't they?
Well, they did now.
Barry literally changes the time stream.
Yo,
literally,
you know who is irresponsible? The Flash.
Yes!
He is very irresponsible.
We know, there literally is memes of him, of people saying, damn it, Barry!
Yeah, I just like, Barry, man, you irresponsible, bro. But that's another topic. But yeah, with this show, the time frames, I don't feel like it paid off when they finally brought them together and Ciri finally met Geralt. Like, I didn't really, I know they're supposed to meet because it's Destiny, but I didn't really care that they met at the end. I was just more like, thank God the times are joined and we can move forward. I was more happy that the time jumping was over.
Were you, let me ask you this, were you disappointed that it was her and Geralt who met and Geralt didn't make it to the castle to see Yennefer?
Yeah. I definitely liked the relationship between Yennefer and Geralt. And that's another time jump because she's also in a different time too. It's like 3 different time periods going on.
It's 3 different time periods because you start with Geralt. You start with Geralt in one time period. You start with Ciri in one time period, and then you start with Yennefer in another
who is
time.
way in the past.
Yeah, so it really was, to me, unnecessary. I don't know how the showrunners and how the producers are going to go forward. I hope they take this criticism and God, we have to be understanding that these people are adapting a fresh new property that has been a very much beloved book series and game series. So everything is not going to be exact to those 2 other properties. This is a whole new thing. It's a retelling. They added some things. They added some things to Yennefer, from what I understand, and her past. I overall enjoyed the show. I really enjoyed Henry Cavill being Geralt. He really, to me, captured the essence of the character from the video games that we all loved and played. But I really liked the world they created. Like that, to me, that was the best thing about the show. The actual world and the fact that mages and witches or whatever had places within a kingdom, and the racism that was in there against the elder races, where it comes to elves, dwarves. That to me was the best part of this show. Yeah,
it kind of reminded me of, and we talked about it before, but Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yes.
And like Dragon Age series overall in terms of like races and how they deal with racism and stuff kind of reminded me of that. Because high fantasy stuff.
We were always, it's funny because if you've read a lot of fantasy novels or fantasy things, there's always some books that are like, the high races they work together and they're all friends and elves are great. And then you read some books and you're like, oh man, they wiped a whole group of people out. And this is one of them where it's like, man, F them elves.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like, whoa, you guys really hate these people.
So I liked Cavill's portrayal of Geralt.
Geralt of Rivia.
He's very matter of fact, to the point. He don't have time for BS, which is cool. He's just kind of like, man, he's kind of a journeyman. He's been through stuff.
That's PTSD for you, right there.
Yeah, he's just like, you know.
And that's when you've been through some.
Yeah. I did like we're kind of jumping all over the place, but the thing that really stood out to me was like some of the fight choreography.
Oh, that
in particular, the first episode, the sword fight between him and Renfrey.
Well, let's start with that. The first episode, we meet Geralt. He comes to a town. We see the distrust and dislike of him
because he's a Witcher.
He's a Witcher, and Renfrey shows up, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you kill the guy for me?"
Mm-hmm. No, not yet. Because Stregobor wants her to be killed first, and then she says,
"You're correct. You're correct."
Yeah.
So he goes to Stregobor. Stregobor has his background of
naked ladies
of the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, woof. It's just how I pass the time. Well, I guess if you got magic, do what you want, man. That's cool.
I mean, if you balling, I'm quite sure if Stregobor was a woman, she'd have had all kind of dudes out there,
Love who you love, Stregobor.
Hey, man, do you 2020?
So many mottos in 2020.
Stregobor was just letting it all hang out.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, why don't you kill this girl for me?
Mm-hmm.
He meets Renfrey. Why don't you kill this guy, dude? No. Wait.
He does meet Renfrey first.
Yeah, but she didn't ask him to kill
Right.
him.
They just talk. And then he meets some girl.
Yeah.
I don't know, whoever. She's like not a handmaiden, but I think she's a daughter of maybe the mayor of the area.
Yeah.
And somehow he gets taken to Stregobor through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we have this thing where he's like, and that we heard from the trailer, if I had to choose between a lesser of evils, I choose neither. That's a line from the actual, if you go back and watch the trailers for the game Witcher 3,
mm-hmm.
that's a line from that one when he rescues a young woman who is accused of being a witch and is about to be hung. Mm-hmm. Him and Vesemir are getting paid by, I think it's, I'm trying to remember, it's not Temeria, it's the other army, the invading. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It starts with an N. Anyway.
Knife guard, Nilf guard.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that line was, to me, I thought that was an ode to little kind of throwback and Easter egg. If you played the games,
mm-hmm.
that's something he has said before, which I thought was pretty interesting. That fight scene and that choreography was really well done.
To me, I think that was the best. Nothing else topped it to me.
Nothing.
Because I was it wasn't that I was let down, it's just nothing matched that choreography. I was like, this is...
Nothing met that intensity.
Yeah, and they talked about it when they didn't want it to be like a typical sword fight. Henry Cavill said he wanted it to look like a dance, and it did.
It did.
He looked very smooth and gracious, and I had not seen a sword fight like that before.
I have not seen a sword fight outside of Asian cinema.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very interesting that kind of sword fight, and also if you've held a sword before, or if you can go online and look at, the world is littered with different types of swords. You have broadswords, your long swords, your katanas, your not even a sword, but your halberds. Henry Cavill uses a type of sword that Renfrey does not use. Mm-hmm. And so the brute force that Henry Cavill was bringing to that sword fight versus what Renfrey was using, a smaller sword for a woman of her stature, and the knife, mm-hmm. showed just because you're bigger and you're strong doesn't mean you're the best. And also, he wasn't trying to kill her.
Right.
So you have those things. He wasn't trying to kill her. She was trying to get a rise out of him, but he was like, hey, look, chill. It's 2020. I can't.
You're not chilling.
Like, it's 2020. I can't hit you like this.
Stop saying that. All right, sir? Because that makes it sound like before it was okay. And I didn't realize that, as you said, the Resident Evil. Y'all should go and watch the Resident Evil trailer where this fool says some wild stuff. Which it makes sense. But the opposite side of that is like, before 2020, it's okay.
You could.
No, son, you cannot.
Hold on. What I'm saying is, they didn't care about that in films and television. Go back and watch the original Ghostbusters. Man, some of them dudes come off as creeps.
I mean, yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like you, the thing, and I was like, "Ooh, you really laying into this." I was like, "Okay, bravo."
Yeah. Oh man. Side note: I'm playing Assassin's Creed Rogue, and I'm enjoying the game. I hate you, talking about Connor, whatever. But I'm playing Assassin's Creed Rogue. You play Shay Cormac, who is a Templar, whatever. He was an assassin, becomes a Templar, and they
traitor.
They had this one element where these people are in disguise and they can kind of jump out and ambush you from up top or like your normal hiding spots. And I don't know what it is about Ubisoft, but every time there's somebody that ambushes you, at least for me, it's always been a female.
Because it's
And it's like, I don't know how I feel about stabbing these ladies in the face because he's just taking his blade and just nah. It's like, oh gosh, this is rough.
It is violent.
It is. I was like, you're not this way with the men. I feel like you're nicer to the men, and I don't know how I feel about it. Side note.
It's almost like he's like, brother, I must take you out. And he's like, the women.
Yeah, it's just like, this is crazy.
Now,
Side note.
I'm glad I said that because now every time you play it, I want you to cringe just a little bit.
I am. Other than that, it's a fun game. But go ahead. Sorry. Just random. Also, hey, Ubisoft, if you guys are making these female models for me to stab in the face, why you couldn't make a female protagonist to be an assassin?
Whenever I play Division, my first character I build is always a woman, and it always so that they know because I don't care. I want a great story, and I'm sorry, the whole idea of not being able to play as a woman and guys won't play it as a woman is utter bull hockey spit. Because Horizon Zero Dawn, oh my gosh, that's an amazing was it Aloy? Oh, I ain't gonna lie, man. I felt something when I was playing as her as a little girl.
Yeah.
And she fell in that cave. I was like, oh,
yeah.
No, Aloy. And man, when she grew up, I was like, man, we about to kick all of y'all ass.
Yeah.
So get that nonsense out of here. But I'm glad that I'm able to affect you while you play this game.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Hey,
back to Witcher.
So that first fight was just amazing, and I have to agree with you. It kind of was a letdown as you go through some of the episodes and you see some of the other fights.
Like, because it's almost like if we didn't have that first fight, these other fights would have been fine.
The only other fight that measures up is episode 4. I'm trying to remember what episode, when he goes to the King of Temeria and the daughter, incestuous, cursed girl.
That was a cool fight.
That fight was amazing.
That was
as
cool.
far as like that and again, I feel as if these people cared about the property. And I'm not gonna say they didn't do a good job. I take issues with some of the things they did. If you go back and watch again another one of the trailers, there's a fight scene where he fights. I can't remember which creature it is, but it's a redheaded woman and she's singing, and he fights her at night. And that fight scene mimics that one. Okay. It's another trailer for Witcher 3. They had a great... Witcher 3 had some of the greatest cinematic trailers. Like, go back and watch them, and then when you watch... Because I watched them as I watched the show. And that fight scene mirrored that as he tried to contain this monster, understanding, I don't want to kill this monster because it's a real person. Yeah. And it's not this person's fault. This happened to them. Yeah. And it mirrored that, and it showed and it really felt like when you play in the game when he had the potions, he used his powers. He had the sword, and then he go watch that trailer, watch that fight. I'm trying to remember what episode it was, but that was the one that those two stand out and just blew my mind. As like that's the essence of this character. Yeah.
What else?
So did you, starting with episode 1, do you feel like the choices he made with Renfri and Stregobor, how did that sit with you? Because to me, I felt like as the show went on, I felt like he made the wrong decision. That he was plagued by, in a sense, killing Renfri and mad that he had to make that choice and mad he didn't choose in the end.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like they're trying to play it both ways almost, of making him kill somebody even though he didn't want to kill somebody. And the town folks are always going to be idiots and stuff like this.
Well, people are idiots.
Yeah, but it's just...
We see that in 2020.
What I couldn't figure out is why Stregobor turned on him. Because Stregobor got what he wanted in the end anyway, so I don't know why he turned on. I didn't get that.
I felt it was more of a sense because he didn't choose to do what Stregobor wanted, and the Witcher was mad with Stregobor, and he was going to do something to Stregobor for making this happen. Okay. And Stregobor wasn't.
He needed to get him out of there.
And he wasn't, and also Stregobor wasn't grateful because he essentially did what Stregobor wanted. But Stregobor, when it almost seemed like as the Witcher was like, you caused this, he didn't have the self-awareness to say that, yeah, there might have been a better way to handle this. Mm-hmm. And I did ruin some lives, and I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. Stregobor was more like, you did it.
Yeah.
and it's kind of like when you're arguing with somebody, and they're right, mm-hmm. and you don't want to give them the satisfaction of being right.
Okay.
It's that.
Okay.
And that was one of those things where, because you saw that fight, that death affected him throughout the other episodes.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think.
So he leaves.
That stuck out.
So he leaves from there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we meet Ciri, her mom, or her grandmother. Sorry, her grandmother, her step grandfather.
It was weird. I didn't know who the guy was at first, but I liked him as a character. He was just a kind of a laid back dude.
That was Bjorn, right here. That's him.
Yeah, Bjorn. I don't know how you
Well, if you open it up, I'm quite sure you can fumble over his name.
Yeah, but then it'll go away from all the other people.
No, you right click, man. We have had this conversation before. Here, let me show
Batman.
you. Batman.
I said that man.
Oh, I thought you said
Bjorn
Batman.
Hilner.
Yeah.
No, now I made it drop.
Well, I'm trying to help you out there, old man.
All right. I don't know how technology works.
I see that. See, right click, open link in new tab.
Ooh,
And this is the man I go to when I need help editing.
Yeah, Bjorn Hilner Haraldson. I think that's right. Bjorn Hilner Haraldson.
Whenever we meet Bjorn.
Yeah, friend of the show. They would only pronounce your name.
I know him from a show called Fortitude.
Okay.
You guys, go watch that show. It's on Amazon. Trippin' effing show.
Okay.
He's great in it.
Okay.
But I really liked him.
I liked him. I liked the Queen.
Oh, that Queen was a piece of work.
I liked her because she wasn't just like a stereotypical, or not even stereotypical, just like a queen of...
She was a real person.
Yeah, she had flaws. She wasn't completely perfect. She definitely wasn't perfect, She had a belief in a code system. But I liked...
Jacked up as it was.
Yeah, I liked the actors did a good job in portraying her.
Law surprise!
Man,
Son.
I want a law surprise for everything now.
Son.
Always claim a law surprise.
The best thing is the meme of surprise, and then they changed it to law of surprise. So you've seen that meme, surprise mother.
Yeah.
They changed it to law of surprise.
Okay.
And it is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Katie got mad at me because one day I literally listened to that. She was reading, and I was like, and I kept hitting just surprise, and I played that 19 times. She was like, "Where is this from? And why do you keep watching it?" I was like,
still one more time. I'm gonna Baby Yoda this one. Just keep pushing it anyway.
I did.
But yeah, I liked their dynamic overall. She wasn't. She wanted to groom her granddaughter to be the future queen. She wasn't. She was protective, but she didn't kind of like she didn't want to smother her, I don't think.
Yeah, she was really overprotective.
You think she was overprotective?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
She fought a battle in the middle, hold on. Let me back up. She was overprotective of the granddaughter because of what happened with the daughter.
Yeah.
And so, and I have a problem with how that was kind of set up. It did make sense after you saw the interaction, that episode that they had with her, the marrying off, and then you find out what the law surprise is and all that other stuff. That was a great episode. That really was. The fights.
Because I really feel like the queen was trying to get with Geralt. She could have. She's like,
she was.
You can talk, Geralt.
She was more or less open to the idea of. So one of the things that, I don't know if you picked up on it, when she was talking to her daughter, and she told her daughter, and her daughter was like, well, I don't love these people. And she's like, that's not what this is for. You can have a lover on the side.
Yeah.
What meant to me was, okay, I see how you get down. Mm-hmm. Like the titles are just for...
Yeah, let's make these kingdoms stronger.
And that's the one thing I loved about the show, the world building that showed we all think of, oh, your highness and the queens and kings and all. No, this was horse trading. This was literally who could be a better suitor, who could give me that child, whose kingdom is better, like who alliances, and they literally laid it all out there. And it gave, and I don't want to compare it, but they gave it that Game of Thrones feel where you're like, you're moving pieces along the board. And that episode to me was really good.
Okay.
And that's one of those things as you're watching this show, the little things like that, where you saw Yennefer talking to the young lady who had the baby. And then the king is going to kill that young woman because she kept giving him daughters. And she's like, and he's like, no, both of you got to go.
Yeah.
And that whole idea of this world being vicious was interesting. And even the people you love can be vicious towards you if you got in their way. And that's to me who the queen was, because she was willing.
Well, the only person she wanted to kill was the porcupine head man.
But that's not. But what I'm saying is that was in direct violation of what her own daughter wanted, because that's what she wanted.
Daughter didn't know.
But
Mama knows best.
But the thing is, you killing him, or not, but abiding by the law of surprise, literally ruined your whole empire, or your whole kingdom.
Yeah.
And it to me, that episode showed how when people know what they need to do and still won't do the right thing.
Because they're so principled or proud.
No, not principled. They're just selfish. Human beings are selfish creatures that we, instead of acting out and doing the right thing, they act out in this show in self-interest. What I want to do because I don't believe in destiny. And it's like, well, destiny believes in you, mother.
I mean, you could argue this whole thing kind of got started with Yennefer going through that transformation and becoming the mage that she wasn't supposed to be. Whatever the mage of, because she was supposed to go to Nilfgaard. She's like, nah, I don't want to go there. I want to go back to my homeland and be this person's mage.
But remember why she wanted. But remember, Stregobor once again interjected in that as well, because Stregobor had your boy Isred, and he was going back to Stregobor. Hey man, Stregobor was like, hey, boom, little Joker. And then her girl was like, yo, how he know this? And then Yennefer was like, and it was like, girl, why you do, really? You can't trust this dude? Just everybody just, man. You weren't ready for that?
We're not going to do that.
So that's not how she did it? That's not how she did it?
We're not going to do that.
That's not how she did it?
You can talk
I'm just saying,
in your normal voice.
That's exactly how she did it.
You can talk in your normal voice.
Her face was this way.
Sir?
She was talking, and somebody showed her a little bit of attention, and she told him everything.
Okay. All I'm saying is, you can get your point across by talking in a normal voice.
I
to
did.
Say who Yennefer. You did not, because you would never talk like that with a high pitched voice. Maybe kind of right there, but no. Okay. Because as you do that, a lot of people took issue with the fact that Yennefer, who was born with
a humpback
and a crooked jaw, they took issue with the fact that she felt like she had to change to be a quote unquote normal, beautiful person to get power.
But see, that's the problem that I have with those people, which I can understand, but that's who the character is. The character, and Isrid called her out on it and said, no amount of magic is going to make them love you. And that was the thing that I think those people who probably never bothered to watch the show, who just saw some snippets or some synopsis, didn't understand. She did that because all her life, she was bullied, picked on, made fun of, whatever you want to call it, because of her looks. She was not of value. Her own father sold her. And now granted, he probably might be a little upset. She was really not his biological kid, but you know.
That wasn't a biological kid?
No, remember, she's the daughter of a union between...
Oh, right, yeah, the mom and an elf. Yeah, that's true. Good point.
But when no one loves you, and you think it's because of your physical, that affects you. And so you reach out for the one thing you think will make people love you, give you the attention. And that's what she reached for. and that to me showed you the character was always searching for something.
Okay.
And that's, to me, what shows you why she went back. When she hated everything about this place, she came back. Because whatever that void was that she could not fill, she's always searching. And I think that, to me, was one of the things that made Yennefer a very compelling character over Geralt, because he did not get those motivations, at least until the end of the season.
What did you think about the infamous bathtub scene? Do you feel like it did justice to the game?
Yeah, I mean, we could have saw more Henry Cavill. It's a sexy man.
Sexy man.
Hey, mama, that's a real man.
Okay. Did you buy the chemistry between Yennefer and Geralt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have. It could have been better.
Okay.
I did, because I like the characters. I think it could have been better. They could have done more. Again, it's hard to compare the game versus the show, because as the game, you're playing this person. You're actively invested in this character and the choices that you make. Whereas in the show, you're literally just watching these people, and you bring your own biases, prejudices, or whatever you assume to this show. So I would have liked a little bit more interaction, a little bit more feeling, communication, but that's just me. So did you buy it? Because you didn't finish. Did you even
finish? I ain't start. I told you I ain't start Witcher 3 yet.
Every time you say it, it hurts my heart.
It's
My
you know what? I've realized it is, or not realized, but it kind of reminds me of, it's kind of like I ain't watched The Irishman yet either. That's a long movie. The Witcher's a long game.
I mean, who got 4 or 5 hours just to sit and watch Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci just talk about stuff?
I'm just saying, like, I know The Witcher's great. That's just a long game. Maybe I'll start after I finish Assassin's Creed.
It's not a long game if you focus on the campaign.
I can't, though.
If you do it is a long game.
The way I play those types of games, I do 100%.
I am the same way.
So that's why I know, for me, that's going to be a long game.
Hey, man, it was worth it.
I bet it is.
I'm going to be honest with you. I almost deleted a lot of games. Like, I almost just stopped playing everything and just put it back in.
Yeah.
And maybe I might do it when the new season comes back. I might just stop. Whatever. When that new season comes out, I might be like, toss a coin to your Witcher.
I mean, I might try to play it before Cyberpunk comes out, just so I can kind of...
No, you're not going to finish. Just stop. Cyberpunk comes out in April. January's already over.
January's not over.
It's already 15, sir. You got 15 days.
I can start...
February is 12 days. And then April...
I can start on Sunday, maybe, Witcher. Maybe. I'll be done with it.
You still planning to work?
I said Sunday. I'll play Sunday.
And Sir, do you still plan to come to work and work your normal 50-hour week?
I don't know, man.
Then no. Let me tell you right now. Then no. You're not going to finish the Witcher.
I don't know.
You got some vacation time I don't know about?
Maybe. Maybe I'll burn some.
That is at least an 80-hour game.
Okay. So maybe I'll get to, maybe I won't. I don't know. But I'm trying to think of anybody else that stuck out to me.
I really like Triss. And she wasn't the...
Now, she's a big part of the games, right?
She is.
She wasn't a big part of the show.
No.
Now, we have read the books, so I don't know how big she is in the books.
She is later on.
Okay.
And...
So maybe she'll have a bigger part in season 2.
That's if she's still alive.
I mean, a lot of those witches and mages were killed, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people got... I'm like, ooh, are you still here, Triss?
Yes.
I really like
that. Was a cool scene overall in terms of how that was choreographed. And I like some of the effects in terms of like the explosions.
Those were,
the magic
and
stuff.
see, this is what I liked. I don't know what was wrong with the fact that they were able to get the effects down for those scenes. The monster scene when he fought the girl who was cursed.
Well, I think that was a practical creature.
That's what I'm saying. Like how, but
a lot of I feel like a lot of the CG creatures look bad, but practical creatures look good. Like the cursed woman, porcupine head man.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah. And then the magic people, a lot of that was them kind of doing explosions and like wind stuff, which I'm not a programmer or a CGI person, so I don't know, but I imagine it's probably not as difficult to do that as it is to fully 3D animate a creature with 8 legs like a spider creature and then those zombie looking guys.
So, like I said, the special effects are good in this. I really like Triss. The 2 characters I thought were very interesting. that I think a lot of people, I've saw some people take some issues with. The two women that I think, I want to get their names right. She was Frangella. Frangella.
Before I knew there was a time jump, I definitely thought that was two different black women.
I don't know what to say to that. I really her and I want to say this is her, but I'm not sure. The woman who actually brought in Yennefer. What was her name?
Oh, she was the count to something.
Yeah, those two women really stood out to me.
Yeah,
because their motivations and for the things that they wanted were because they were tied to each other through to this organization they were a part of, but they had different goals. And when at that last episode when Frangella shows up and you see her do all of these dastardly things, and then she shows up and everybody's kind of like, why does have her hair? Why does be here? And then everybody's just looking and she's like, look, I ain't asking you to agree with whatever I'm doing. Just stay out of my way.
Yeah. And
it was like that world building, that inner dialogue, that should we do it? That's his niece, nepotism. This would have never. And remember, it was all. And they said this would have never been. We would have never had this happen if your girl Yennefer had done what she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
you're supposed to go. And I was just thinking, poor Frangella got her hand all burnt up in that whatever second or third episode. It's like, oh, I wonder if she still thinks about that to this day. It's like, man, they messed up my hand. And I never paid attention. Was her hand messed up the rest of the show?
I really wasn't paying attention after she was killing all them people.
After she had one of her men eat somebody's skin and then disembowel him.
When he's I got it. And she said,
I was not expecting that part.
I was like, yo.
He can't just tell you gotta die? What is this? I feel like he could just tell you what you need to know.
The funniest thing is how she walked. I know we have a problem with black women always being portrayed as evil, but man, she kills it in this role. Man, and at that final episode where she was like, "Oh boy," when he died, when old boy died, and then old girl was sitting there, she was like, "Again."
Yeah.
Old girl was like, "I don't want to say no."
Yeah, she would just let people drop. It was. It reminded me of.
She gave no F's.
Ozymandias when he was throwing them clones into whatever, not caring about these people.
She wrecked shop. I was like, man, don't piss her off.
Yeah, it was wild.
I really enjoyed the show. There's so much to go over. There's so much, and honestly, maybe we'll do a second video.
Yeah, you guys let us know if there's stuff, because definitely there's stuff we didn't talk about, just because like you said, it's so vast and expansive. If there's something more specific you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments.
We'll say this. We'll say this is part 1 of our Witcher review. And then maybe we can go down and break it down episode by episode. This is more of an overview of what we thought of the show.
How many times have you seen the show?
I've only watched it once, but I did watch a couple episodes twice. I watched the episode where you realize the time jump happened. I watched that one twice. I thought that was amazing because I love the interaction between Geralt and then everybody's like, the White Wolf, and then old boy was like, I need you. That episode really got me because that was when you saw the law of surprise in effect, and
when Geralt says, "I guess I'll take the law of surprise," she throws up, and he's like, "F." Crap, because that means now I'm going to take care of this baby. He's like, that's interesting. I thought it was cute.
It was, and because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And he goes through life. Geralt goes through life with the idea that it's going to take a lot to kill me, and I really don't care if I go. And so, and he's also looking for something to fill that void, because that was that thing. And I liked the interaction between him and the mage, where he told him, like, don't do this, Geralt. Stay, help, like, and then when he came back, it was like, yeah, you kind of effed up. And the thing I loved about the time jump, I will say this, is that as that kingdom fell, he was downstairs the whole time.
Yeah, that was
cool. That was the coolest part.
Yeah.
The final, as he went back, tried to mentor Ciri, and that whole charade, and then you realize, oh, he was there the whole time.
He could have been helping you, yeah.
And not only that, all they had to do was take Siri downstairs to get her out, but you were so prideful. You effed over this entire country based on your pride. Ooh, like it just, there's so many metaphors that you could have taken out of this and so many different things. That's why I say I really like this show in spite of those two big things. Because the time jumps, that's the one time it paid off. The other times it was like,
yeah.
When the law of surprise and that final where you're like, oh, you were there, like just meditate, just
yeah. But that's it for us.
Yeah.
On this episode, on this show, we liked it. It would be cool if Mark Hamill comes back, plays Vesemir. It'd be cool if Mark does that.
It would be cool. What I would really like to see is I want to see them lean more into the world building a little bit more and explain the realms, how the elves were wiped out, the elder races, something conjunction. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Yeah, when they joined other worlds, whatever.
I would really like to see that. I want them to do a little bit more in explaining Ciri's power and explaining where it comes from. Like little those things that I thought they didn't do a good job in the first series. Like I don't think they did a good job of explaining why Ciri was so important. And I feel like there needs to be that bond built to where Geralt is explaining to her, this is the real world. You did not grow up in the real world. You're basically a spoiled brat. And what has happened to you is unfair, but this happens to little girls all over the world. And so I hope that fatherly bond shows up. I really hope that there's that father-daughter bond, and also to that point where Yennefer shows up and it's like this little family, this little found family, and then what happens to them as they go through trying to fend off Nilfgaard, and they're, man, those are some zealots. I will say this, they did zealotry a good job. But they need to explain.
They believe in a cause.
They need to explain a little bit more behind that zealotry of Nilfgaard. So that's what I'm hoping for in the next season. Because we know we're getting to season 2. No matter what, they've already greenlit it.
That'll be it for us. You can find us here on YouTube. Also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com.
Hey guys, like, comment, and subscribe down here. We'll read all the comments. Let's talk. What did you guys think of The Witcher? Did it meet your expectations? Did it fall flat? Did you like? What did you like? What did we miss? What do you want to see from us next?